days and wasted nights. You piss them all away. Little children in the street, dying every day. We all look for something we can never find, and we all need peace of mind. Lonely wretch on the street, looking for love. $20 beneath the sheets. Is this all she thinks of? We all look for something.
Three, two, one, go.
Hey, Timmy, good to see you.
Hey, you too here. We've both been under the weather for the last week. I know that some kind of bug's going around, Sean, and it took me like 3 or 4 days just to start feeling good again. For Christ's sake.
Yeah, I think I had Ebola, Timmy, because I was doing really well after 5 days, and then all of a sudden this morning I got up and I felt like shit again. The
Yeah.
little sweet pea of mine, she's sick. I had to take her to the doctors. They said she had the flu A,
Yeah.
and coughing like a bastard. I can't stop, but who knows? Maybe the Democrats are just trying to poison us.
Yeah. I mean, even right now, I'm not feeling my best, but we're going to try to get this show out.
Yeah, you're not looking your best either.
Uh,
No, you're looking great. Hey, Timmy, so listen, right off the get-go, I got to start with Donald Trump. I mean, listen, we're a little behind the 8 ball because we've been sick, but so Donald Trump's been in office for what, a couple weeks?
Yep.
And
About
look at
11 days.
Yeah, the guy has truly done a lot of shit, whether you like him or hate him. He's a mover, he's a shaker, and he talks about things and he does things that he says he's going to do. Whether you like him or not, that's not the point. The point is, so he's the president, and he started this thing called Doge, right? Or Doge. How do you say
Doge.
it, Timmy? Doge.
Doge,
Like
yeah.
Doge. Okay. So he had Elon Musk, and there's a couple other people, and look at. I think it's a great thing because their job is to kind of like rip government apart, find out where the waste is, and build it back. Right? Isn't that
Yeah.
what the whole point of their operation is?
Yeah. Yep.
And so, they've been going through a lot of different things, and found a lot of different things happening. Right? I mean,
Sure.
so one of the places that they've been looking at, right, is U.S. aid, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Now,
Yep.
I've been around I've been around politics for a long time now, and U.S. aid has been, the secret little slush fund for all of these Democrats to hide a lot of the shit that they're doing. That most people would be saying, "What are you doing with my money?" I mean,
Yeah,
you're nickel and diming me to death.
Right.
I can barely live. You're talking about reductions in Social Security and Medicaid and Medicare and all the other things that I've paid for my whole life. And you're always talking about we ain't gonna have enough money. But then we find out that you've been sending money all across the world for things that are so outrageous. And the only reason we know is because Elon Musk dug into this program, this bureaucracy, because really what it is it's a private industry funded by federal money, controlled by private people who tell the government go screw themselves when they try to investigate where all their money's going,
Yeah,
right?
claiming they're independent. And what does Elon Musk do, though? He brings in 19, 20 years old. These kids are,
Brilliant.
very,
Brilliant.
very smart people. And they know computers, and they went right through this thing, and they found this stuff, Sean. And that's what they resent, okay? You know who's behind a lot of this stuff is Billy Crystal. Now, I don't know if you knew that, okay?
Well, I don't know a lot about that, and I really don't. Billy Crystal, the rest of them. I mean, there's a lot of people involved in these organizations that, right?
But it's almost like a pyramid what do you call that, pyramid scheme or something.
Well, it's a
okay?
secret society of people's funds, but
It's so complicated that it's hard to unravel, but Musk people can unravel it with ease.
well, can you unravel this? 1.5 million to advance DEI programs in other countries, right?
Yeah.
70,000 for the production of a DEI musical in Ireland, Timmy.
Right. In Ireland.
$70,000 to give to somebody to have a musical about DEI in Ireland. And then they had a $32,000 a $32,000 transgender coloring book or a comic book in Peru. Okay.
Right.
This is your money. And this is what they're finding the money being spent on. $2 million for electrical vehicles in
Sesame
Vietnam.
Street in Iraq.
Why do we need to
Right.
spend $2 million for electrical vehicles in Vietnam? What is that? What do we got to do with Vietnam's cars?
Yeah.
$2 million for sex changes and
Mhm.
LGBT activism in Guam. $6 million to help tourism in Egypt. Why do I got to pay Egypt
Right.
to fund tourism when we have states right here that could use that money?
Hmm.
And then if you really want to get down to the fucking nitty gritty, Timmy, they're paying Politico. You know, Politico, folks, is a
$8
newspaper,
million.
right?
Yeah.
It's a right-wing hater. They're just 100% far left. If you're in the conservative arena at all, they just want to destroy you. They want to destroy the president. But $8 million of taxpayer money funding a newspaper. They got caught. And
Yeah,
then
they
you
did.
wonder why the Democrats went berserk when he started reaching into this organization. I mean, they went berserk.
They did.
I'm not talking like they complained. They're trying to say that the world's going to cave in and everybody's going to die. And you know why? Because we just found out Politico's getting our money for the newspaper.
Those the Associated Press. But yeah, I mean, they're going nuts. They're threatening what, war?
We got to listen to this. Let me put this on,
it's
Timmy.
crazy.
We will win. We will win. We will win. We will win. We will win.
Will you just look at that asshole
Yeah.
Chuck Schumer? These are
Yeah.
grown-up senior citizens who are in charge of our country yelling, "We will win." You will win what? What are you winning? What are we?
Right.
What are the people winning? We just found out you're paying $8 million for Politico. You're paying millions of dollars for transgender comic books in other countries. Tell us what you're paying stuff that goes to the Taliban through these programs. One of the programs was something like $2 million for birth control devices in other countries. Why are we giving birth control? Why are we doing $50 million in condoms?
Right,
Jesus,
I
I
think-
don't know, Timmy.
Right. And
The whole city'd have to be having hump day every Wednesday and using their
the
condoms.
The condoms were for Gaza. Now, keep in mind, they're not only used
for
for
bombs.
sex; they're used for bombs.
Yeah, well,
You know?
and so they have all these Democratic people wound up like cuckoo clocks, screaming that Elon Musk is destroying the world. Do they even understand where this money is going?
And where was
Are
Chuck
pe-
Schumer for North Carolina? Where no money for them, no money for Lahaina and okay.
We won't rest. We won't rest.
There you go.
We won't rest.
They're going to rest. They're
No
90 years
one
old.
will
elected Elon
We
Musk
will win.
to nothing.
Listen to Pocahontas here.
Yeah.
Nobody elected. No shit. Nobody said they elected Elon Musk. They
Right.
went to one of the most brilliant men in the world and said, can you dig through these? You own more companies than anybody else. You own the biggest companies in the world. Can you go through this? Help us find the waste. He goes
Yeah.
through and finds out that Pocahontas is probably sending, money to some tribe that she's telling people she's part of.
Yeah,
See,
and let
these
me tell you
people-
something about her too, Sean. Okay, she entered Congress 10 years ago with a salary of about $193,000. Right? She's worth
Yeah.
$73 million.
Yes, of course. She's a slime ball. They're all slime balls.
This
These
is
people.
what these people do. That slush fund in Doge, million
Not
here,
one
million
Democrat
here.
in America voted for Elon Musk.
What we're not gonna do is stand
What
around.
we're not
when they
going to
pull
do
this
is
bull.
stand
we
here
are
and
gonna
listen to
be
your
in your
bullshit.
face. We
Yeah.
are gonna be on your.
We will see you in the courts, in Congress, in the streets. Elon Musk is a Nazi nutball baby. Every movement needs a scrappy little.
Can you
Bam, Bondi,
imagine calling
him down
people?
now.
Can you imagine calling people Nazis?
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, these people, how they're elected to represent you in your life and your best interest is beyond me.
I agree.
Why you would elect these people is beyond me. These people are morons. They are thugs. They are people that would never even have a job if
right.
it wasn't for
AOC
politics.
calling Elon Musk an idiot. Is that what she called him? Unintelligent
Yes,
idiot?
I mean, they could call him all they want. He's one of the smartest men in the world. He just
Right.
uncovered all of the dirty funds that you're using for your piggy bank.
Right.
See,
Yeah.
what they do is they funnel
And he's
this
stupid.
money.
Right.
Yeah, they funnel this money and then they funnel money back to them. That's how
That's
they get
right.
rich.
Yep, I agree.
Okay?
Yep. That's
They're
going
giving
on.
all these organizations money. These organizations take that money, come up and Timmy, we provide more aid between the city of Cohoes to the Philippines with 6 bags of rice to help families than these son of a bitches are doing with $60 million because
Yeah,
it's
that's
all dirty money. It's all dirty, rotten money. And
Yeah.
the only reason you stand up screaming and want to fight is because you're going to get caught with your hands in the cookie jar. So what do? You try to convince the world, we are going to have millions of people dead. But millions of people dead. We got hundreds of thousands of people dead, injured, homeless right here in North Carolina.
That's
How
true.
about you help them? This Maxine Waters, what is she, 100 years old? She's as useless as a fart. She's done
Yeah.
nothing her whole career.
Another California loser.
Yes, that's what they are, a bunch of losers.
And I am that person. I need each and every one of you to get in touch with your inner scrappy little.
Nobody elected your. This is not Elon Musk's country.
Take your foot off my neck. We are at war.
Wow.
We are at war, all right. We're at war because of people like you, a useless slug who's probably never worked a day in her life, gets elected because they gerrymander these small little districts where, you have no choice but to vote for the person that's running. And then they get in, make $180,000 a year, all end up being multimillionaires, best healthcare, best food, best hotels, best accommodation, best cars, best security, best everything.
Right.
And you're just trying to scrape by. And then they tell you how bad it is to live in this country that they're supposed to represent you and fix. It's a terrible system.
Right. And here in California, you have a bunch of, I'm just going to say all kinds of nations, okay? Foreign flags, okay? All over, holding up bridges, traffic, and stuff like that, Sean. And what do? These people want to come here. They want to live here, but they want to come in here and burn our flag.
They want to come here,
Okay.
live here, get the freedoms that they
Right.
get, and then run their corrupt operations,
Yeah.
right? I mean, let's just look at the border. Well, I don't care what anybody says. I was anti-border. Trump has done a fantastic job. And if you don't believe that the border was wide open so that everybody could get rich and Biden and the Democrats could get more votes, look at the cartel who's saying we're going to shoot and start killing the people who are protecting the border now because they're losing billions of dollars.
Yep, that's right.
That
Yep.
should tell you right there that the borders were open.
Yeah.
Because when you're being threatened by Mexican cartel to kill you,
Yeah.
there's got to be a reason.
And
Their reason is one thing, money.
Right. And I told you, Sean, Trump already has a response to that. The Air Force had a rigid aircraft flying surveillance down the west coast of Mexico. And right now, the carrier task force Nimitz is right there in the west coast of Sinaloa or whatever the cartel city is. So they want to start shooting at Americans, okay? They're going to have to deal with the Nimitz carrier task force.
Well,
'cause they're going
I
in.
think the bottom line is it's really kind of clear. The picture is
Yeah.
coming into fruition,
Yeah.
right? These Democrats are doing the same thing they did when they tried to impeach Donald Trump the first time.
Mhm.
And they're using the same lies. They only have one playbook. They're like
Yeah.
a one-dimensional boxer that keeps getting knocked out. And he's got to be brain dead because he gets up, starts a fight with somebody bigger, badder again, and gets knocked on his ass again. That's what these people are. They are a bunch of imbeciles that care about themselves. People, listen to me. Believe me, I worked with a lot of these people. These are not people that you would want to stick up for you because they stick up for you in front of your face. And then when you're gone, they call you an asshole. And then they laugh at you because they're taking everything for themselves and somehow convincing you to stand up there. Timmy, I got to be honest with you. I'm so sick and tired of Facebook. I'm not the kind of guy that can get on Facebook. I admit it. I openly admit it. I'm not the kind of guy that can get on there and just read the stuff. I got to call people assholes when I think they're assholes. And maybe it's wrong, but it's best for me not to be on it because I've never seen so many gullible, confused, idiotic people saying stupid things. I mean, there's people today talking about this because President Trump is talking about maybe doing away with probably the biggest and most expensive bureaucracy in federal government. And that's the Department of Education, right? Yeah. These people provide about 10% of the funding for all of our schools, but make up about 95% of all the problems. Okay. They make up all these rules, the DEI rules, the transgender rules, this rule, that rule. They change overnight. Whenever the wind blows, they come up with a new policy that you have to follow. None of it fixes kids who are failing in school. We have some of the worst schools in the country right here in upstate New York. We have some of the really worst schools in the middle of New York. And in this country of the United States, we are far behind many other countries.
Now, right. Now, I wanted to take a moment here because you got, some people are questioning, and I'm hearing the same thing. Elon Musk was not elected to anything, okay? But let me give one of the commenters there, my buddy Ted Conlon, okay, who made a comment that, Musk has he wasn't elected to anything. But let's just take a look right here and go, Sean. As you know, the mayor has a board of managers. On that board of managers are 3 unelected bureaucrats. They decide what goes into the budget, okay? They're not elected to anything. So, and they pass what they consider to be a budget. It goes to the Common Council, and the council either accepts it or not. But the bottom line is, if it gets vetoed by the mayor, the board of managers, the unelected bureaucrats, and what they say goes. So no, let's not talk about Elon Musk. Okay, he's an unelected bureaucrat because it happens right here.
Well, the whole entire government is run by unelected bureaucrats.
Right.
Does the school superintendent who runs our schools, does she get elected?
No.
She gets hired.
Right. Exactly.
Do the teachers get elected? Right. Do our teachers get elected? No.
Right. The board members are the only ones elected. Okay?
That's right.
The rest, they run the system. Okay.
If you go down to Social Security to get your Social Security disability, it ain't politicians denying you your benefits. It's bureaucrats.
That's right.
That's the argument that's been going on for a long time.
Forever,
elected people should be running the country, not bureaucrats. But unfortunately, one elected president can't be in charge of 10,000 different departments,
so
right?
You're right. You delegate your authority. Even you as mayor, you have to delegate your authority for department heads to carry on their tasks and duties, okay?
And that's why these people, like in this video, Chuck Schumer and all them.
Yeah.
None of those people. If you went to Maxine Waters and asked her what USAID is, she wouldn't even know. She'd have to call her staff.
She probably wouldn't even know it existed.
Because the staff run all of even in the county legislature and everywhere else.
For all the people out there that want to put out an argument about Musk being an unelected, it happens on every level of government, period. Okay,
that's right. Every governmental department is run by employees that are not elected.
That's right.
They carry out the mission of that department that's put together usually by the politicians' highest-ranking staff members.
Sure. Now, a good example here in Cohoes is Keeler. Okay, he's DPW commissioner. He runs all of DPW. That's it. Okay, he has a budget to operate on. If he needs a new truck, he goes out and buys it. Okay. That's what these people do. They're not elected. So the argument that just because they're unelected doesn't really mean anything.
No,
Okay?
what happens is the elected official surrounds himself with the smartest people.
That's right.
And what they did is went to Elon Musk and
Musk.
said, look at these departments and help us find stuff. We know there's got to be money there. We want to
Yeah.
give Social Security for the next 60 years.
Yeah.
That would be far much better than buying $50 billion in condoms, wouldn't it?
That's right.
I mean,
Yep.
so I give them credit. The people that are screaming are morons. And what I've learned, and I just said it on Facebook, is people are so gullible and so
Yeah.
divided. I don't even know this lady, and I called her an asshole. I can't help it. And so then I blocked her so I don't call her an asshole again. But they're talking about, having nobody should be able to go into a school and remove anybody from the school because of the immigration, right? Schools and churches should be off of
They're not exempt from the law.
right. They should be off the
Off limits, right? Is that it?
off limits. That's a good term. So they should be
Yeah.
off limits. And I said to her, so let me ask you a question. If you're a mother and you're sitting home and you find out that some immigrants in the school, working around the school, on the school grounds, and he's a murderer, or he raped somebody, or he's a child molester, what would you do? And she responds, well, I'd wait until the school day was over and wait till he left. I said, well, that's really great. So what you're saying is if a kid's in the school with a gun, we should just let him stay there until the end of the school day before we go in and arrest him. That's
Yeah.
how stupid people are. And then the other lady chimes in and says, well, this is how stupid you are, Sean. You can't get hired in a school if you're illegal. I said, okay, let's just say you're right. What about that company they just hired to do some grounds work that is up to the school, and the 5 Mexicans are out of the truck cleaning up the grounds, and 2 of them are child molesters casing out your kid's school? Is it possible? Is it just possible that could be happening? Of course it is, Timmy.
Yeah.
Schools subcontract work out. You
They
see
do,
it right
yeah.
here. You go up James Street in the summertime, there's a subcontractor putting the mulch on the ground.
Yep.
Do you think the school said, I want to know everybody who works for you? No.
Yeah,
There's people that could get access to your kids that shouldn't, and you should be thankful somebody's watching those type of people to make sure they're not around your kid.
Mhm.
But they are so blinded by this. We're supposed to be the moral compasses of the world, that the United States has got to be the company or the country that, lets everybody come in and we figure it all out. They're just stupid people.
Yeah, Sean, I'm going to tell you, now, I was up at Walmart. I just asked an employee, he was a Walmart employee. I said, hey, where can I find like jars of gravy and stuff like that? He couldn't even answer.
Of
me,
course.
Sean.
I say it all the time. It's like a third world country in Latham.
Right. Couldn't, and now you know what? He may be here illegally, might be a really, really nice guy, but he's working in a position where he could get approached by people. And you see this more and more and more. Okay. Now, when I bring this on up, people go, oh, Tim, that's racist. The last person that can be called racist is me.
Yeah, me too, even though somebody-
you know what I do.
Somebody
okay?
called me racist yesterday because I said, listen, I am a wholeheartedly believing man
Mhm.
that people should come to this country. Just come right.
That's right.
Don't hop the borders. Come through the port of entries. Go through the process like everybody else had to do, and come live a great life. The people who are doing that are probably good people. The
Mhm.
people who ain't doing it are bad people, because
Yeah.
they don't want to come through that point, because they're not going to be able to get in. So
Yeah.
I applaud Trump. I applaud Musk. I hope they continue to dig through this shit. I hope they find the money that continues to go to places like Politico and the AP Press and all the other shit that should never be getting funded by taxpayers' money. Are there good programs? I imagine there are. Do I believe
Yeah.
those good programs will stay in effect? Yes. Do I think having the Secretary of State oversee these programs is smarter? Yes, I do. And, 3 months from now, this will be a dead issue because nothing happened. The world didn't blow up. The clouds didn't fall. Millions of people didn't die. And they'll be on to the next impeachment because the president talked to somebody on a beautiful phone call. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
listen, if you like the show, please subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell, get alerted to our next show every time it comes up. We really appreciate your help and love to have you be part of the Truth Lies Political Bullshit family. Hey, Timmy, so jumping back onto this, so while they're screaming and crying, we're going to fight, we're going to beat up Trump, here he is fixing the shit that they broke, that they just abandoned,
Yeah.
and he's signing executive orders stopping transgender athletes, boys, from playing in girls' sports.
Right.
And
Right.
I applaud him. God bless him. Finally, somebody with some common sense. Timmy, this whole group of people have lost their minds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, here he is trying to save money, and they're fighting him for saving money. Here he is closing down the border, trying to save people's lives, and they're fighting with him because they want to let them in. Here he is trying to stop men from competing in girls' sports. And here they are trying to sue and fight him and stop him from doing that. What is wrong with these people? Please tell me.
They're totally out of touch. Okay, look, I watched that ceremony. These young girls and young ladies and the women athletes are there. That was a room full of cheer. Okay, these people got something that they had that wasn't given back to them. Something that they had all along. But you get these freaks out there that think they got to go on out there. They're losers men in their sport, but decide to just put on a wig and go beat up on women. Well, I'm glad it took something like Trump to go ahead and use an executive order to put an end to that. But he also said we're not going to allow it in the Olympics in 2028 when they get here, and the World Cup is going to be played here too. Okay, and we're not going to allow any transgender men to be participating on our soil in the World Cup either.
And rightfully so. What men who are watching this show, and women for that matter, can support men dressing up as women
and beating up on women?
And beating up on women, taking away their scholarships, taking away their opportunities that they worked their whole life since they're little girls. I mean, explain to me how this group of morons like Chuck Schumer and that whole group that we just watched, Letitia James, all of these left crazy AGs. Please, somebody help me understand how we could even be talking about this stuff. Trump said something today that I've been saying for a month. I said, I only wish I could rewind my life 15 years and tell everybody at the bar that I'm hanging out at that 15 years from now, we'd be fighting over men wearing dresses, taking away our kids' opportunities in sports. You'd say, what the hell's wrong with you, McFly? Something's wrong with you. And here we are doing it.
Right. And now what did Letitia James just get done doing, right? She's trying to do something in regards to suing, I believe, for not allowing children.
No, so Letitia James, who is the biggest moron.
Yeah.
She's just she's another incompetent, half-assed lawyer that probably was making enough money to barely pay her rent. Yeah. And she gets elected because she gets into the New York City politics. God knows what she did, but she did something. They gave her the opportunity to be the attorney general. And Trump has done something that we all should support. Take politics out of it. He said, stop mutilating little kids. Stop giving them puberty blockers. Stop giving them the ability to have sex changes at these young ages. Let them be kids. Let them grow up. Let them decide for themselves when they're old enough, is this what I want to do? Nobody that's 7, 8, 9, and 10 is making that decision on their own. It's their crazy parents. It's these gay people. And I hate to say it, a lot of them are people who adopt kids and then somehow their kids end up wanting to be a transgender and they're pushing for it, or some crazy mother who's yelling and screaming, my daughter wants to be a boy. How does your daughter know if she wants to be a boy at 7, 8, 9, and 10?
Yeah.
Okay?
They haven't even had their changes yet. So
Let the people look at even people who have come out and been gay, right? Some of them used to say, I wanted to be sure. I wanted to wait till I was old enough. I wanted to experiment. I wanted to do what I had to do. I can't speak for these people. I can imagine that people who are transgenders have some kind of problems, right? And as you know, Timmy, I helped them in the Albany County Legislature get the first human rights law ever passed in Albany to make sure that they weren't disrespected, because I don't want them to be disrespected. I don't want them not to be able to get a job, have housing, get education, go to school, get funding. I don't want them to be excluded from anything. But that doesn't mean that I have to pretend that if they wear a dress, they're a boy. I don't have to pretend that. I just have to respect the fact that they do it. And if it doesn't affect my life, why can't I support them in that? But when their little situation crosses over into other people's lives, like I'm going to use the girls' room now. Oh, bullshit you are.
Well, that's what I told you in the past, Sean. It's what the gest you did. Okay, you basically let the camel's nose under the tent, but then they decided that wasn't enough, and then
Well, I'm
they
going to tell
decided
you,
to
in
throw the
Albany
whole
County
camel
for the
under
longest time, I met with hundreds of transgenders. And there were some of them were just men that were cross dressers, like to dress as men.
Yeah.
Some of these were the nicest people. Some of them were weird as a hell, just like everyday weird people that I meet and you meet. Some of them were the nicest people in the world. Some of them could articulate. Some of them could make you understand. Some of them were totally against men dressing as women and taking women's sports. Others didn't know what the hell they were. It was a diverse group of people. But at the end of the day, again, I want you to have a good life. But I don't want you to be 7 years old and have this piece of shit, Letitia James, allow you to go cut your nuts off because your father thought or your mother thought that's what you wanted to do, only to find out when you're 20 years old, you want to get married and have kids, and now you can't.
Yeah, and there's been many cases where as people grow out of that, like as if it's a phase, when people grow out of that, they turn around and say, geez, I regret having done that now, because it was taken away from them at a time in which they weren't old enough to decide for themselves.
We don't let them get tattoos.
And there are lawsuits going on about that.
We don't let them get tattoos. We don't let them smoke.
Yeah.
We don't let them drink.
Yeah,
right?
Well, I mean, that happened to my son when he was 17 in high school, okay? He came home and he had an earring. And I said, what the hell are you doing with an earring? And I said, you get rid of that earring or you're off the football team. And he knew I meant it. So he got rid of the earring, and then he was brave enough and good enough to come back to me the next day and said, Dad, it was, you were right. I didn't do it because I wanted it. I did it because I wanted to fit in.
Yes, that's what happens to a lot of kids.
And that's what happens with kids.
Just let kids be kids.
Yeah.
Let them figure out their sexuality like everybody else did. Stop pushing them because you have some kind of crazy ass agenda. Truthfully, the parents that push these kids into that, I think they should be put in jail. I really do. I think they should have their kids taken away and they go to jail. The parent that says, I love you and I will help you try to figure out what it is you want to be and who you are. And as time goes by, we'll figure this out together. And as you get older, you can make the final decision when you're 18. Those are the parents that I believe are great parents. These assholes that you see on TV that are running around saying they're giving their kids puberty blockers, they ought to be puberty blocked. It makes me sick.
Yeah.
But we have to continue to fight this battle and fight the Democrats, because it's the Democrats pushing this shit. And I just don't get it. I don't get it.
I expect you to see some lawsuits, but I don't expect those lawsuits to go very far, because bottom line is it boils down to what I said before. Okay, everybody there's two genders, male and female, and like I told you before, it was always Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
Well, look at it would if it was Adam and Steve, okay,
Yeah,
I could accept that. When it's Adam and I'm a dog, or I'm a frog, or I'm a cat, and you got to go to school, and they're giving kids, cat boxes, and they're putting them in the. What is wrong with us? We are just nuts. People are
There-
nuts. They're insane, Timmy.
there are people on
Okay?
TikTok there pretending that they think they're a cat.
That's what
They
I'm
think
saying. Look, we
these
know
people are mental cases.
people, human people in flesh, have attractions to men, have men, women, heterosexual. We all know that stuff, right? You've come to accept maybe that's just the way life is. It doesn't faze me or bother me at all. But when a guy comes up and starts licking his freaking ankles and tells me he needs a shit in a cat box, and we're going to bring it into school because we have to somehow, identify him as a cat. What is wrong with society? What is wrong with
Yeah.
the people? Forget about
Yeah.
the cat. The cat guy's got more brains than the people who are letting him do this.
Did you watch the ceremony in which Trump was signing that EO for to get rid of the transgender? Did you see the ceremony?
I
with
did. I
all
was
of the-
watching it. I was.
Right. Well, the thing that was missing, had that been Biden, surely he would have tried to sniff the hair of some of those girls. Okay.
Well,
Yeah, these guys are nutcases, and look at it's. I'm glad that he put an end to it, and I hope when the first lawsuits get filed, I hope no courts turn around and give an.
I could care less about these lawsuits. I'm still stuck on the fact
Yeah,
that our school districts, our elected officials, and any common sense person is somehow trying to let somebody believe they're a fucking cat.
yeah.
Okay?
Now look at
I can't
Yeah.
wrap my arms around it.
Right.
You're a cat, you're a dog, you're a giraffe. How about you're an asshole? Is there a
Right.
category for assholes that we can take
Yeah.
out with the trash?
Right. Now, Pam Bondi just got sworn in as the Attorney General, okay, U.S. Attorney General. And the first thing she did, Sean, was she issued a decision that they were going to, the Department of Justice was going to deny funding to all sanctuary cities, okay, federal funding, that is. Which means, Albany is a sanctuary city. I'm wondering how much, if any, federal funding they are going to lose because they're on record for this. Okay,
Just
So-
crazy.
so it is crazy. Okay, look at we got a few things we could talk about locally. I got some people in the comments asking about, hey, how's things going on with our potable water, right? So let me take a couple minutes here about just to touch on that, okay? It was on January 22, Sean, okay? This is when an alarm went off after hours, okay, up at the water plant. And when the police arrived there, they found a 30-inch valve wide open, and it was dumping water, untreated water, right from the reservoir, right into that building. Now, that water had to be a foot high, okay? A foot high. I don't know how big that interior of that building is, but if you got a foot high of water, okay, the size of that building, it's not going to boil. It's not going to be just a couple 100 gallons that managed to get into the system, per what the mayor claims. That is an outright misquote.
Well, here, look at
I'm going to call it a lie. Myself.
I would say that a 30-inch main is pumping about 300 gallons a minute.
Yeah.
300 gallons a minute, if not a little more, somewhere in that. I
Right.
just take that as the easy. So if it took 20 minutes to get up there, you got millions of gallons of water. You don't have thousands of gallons of water. And
you got an enormous. And here's the thing, Sean. They somehow the news got wind of it. I think probably off my page, and then they go down to interview both the mayor and Hennessy, right? Neither one would go on camera to let the people know what happened, and because people were upset. Wait a minute, where was the boil water alert?
What is
Okay.
that? What does that tell you when
Mhm.
the mayor of a city doesn't have the common courtesy to go on the news and explain to his community that he's supposed to be in charge of
Mhm.
what happened and everything's going to be okay? You know
Mhm.
who doesn't go on the news? The guy who's a moron, the guy who's a liar, the guy who doesn't know how to lie without getting caught during the interview. Because there's no way in the world that 300 gallons of water pumping out of that thing at 300 gallons a minute did not go over that little tiny wall
Yeah.
that protects the clean water from the dirty water.
Yeah.
Okay. Waterford shut down for some period of time because they were concerned. Okay.
Mhm.
There's no way in the world that he can justify that. Now, I am not an expert in the water filtration plant, but I was the mayor. And what I prided myself on is that every single thing the city had, I should know at least how to operate it or what it means, so that if somebody asks me, I have a valid, educated
Answer. Yeah. Yeah.
question and answer for them,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
So
yeah.
here's what I can tell you based on what I remember. And I can't always remember the terminology. But within the water department, within the filtration plant, they have these things that almost look like when you have an earthquake. You know, they
Yeah. It's a chart.
yeah, it's like a circle chart,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they used to be on the walls, and you know, you'd see the pencil in there, and it'd be moving up and back.
Yeah.
And one of them was to tell you what the clarity of the water was.
Which should
That is
normally be about 0.3, I believe.
I don't even know. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
it's supposed to be
Point oh
sits
two
around
point
0.3.
right. It's a very low number.
Yes, it is.
So it would be easy for somebody to foil, especially the news channel that did a semi-decent job without no follow-up, I guess.
I already foiled for that chart. I'll
Right.
get.
Yeah. So you should be able to see if the clarity of the water jumped at any one point. And the only way that it would change any
Yeah.
what's the word I want to use? Drastically
Yep.
would be if dirty water mixed it in with the clean water and it made it foggy, and therefore you would get a huge reading. Okay.
Right now, and I believe that happened, and I believe that, and I'm gonna guess, Sean, it's probably a good 20 times greater.
And I can't
what
tell
it
you
should
that.
be.
I don't know that to be true.
I don't
I don't
know
even know
either.
if I don't even know if they still have that kind of technology. Maybe the technology's changed. I'm just telling you, when I was there, I can remember going up and getting an education on all of the parts in case I needed to answer questions.
Yeah.
There's another thing
Yeah.
that I know for sure, that they lied to the public. Steve Hennessy lied to the public, because there's no way in the world that they got a bacterial test done at nighttime on the weekend.
Mhm.
What was it? Was it a weekend?
It was a January 22. I'm not sure whether that was a weekend, but it was after hours anyway.
So January 22. Let me just see what that was. So that was a Wednesday. Okay. So figure it's a Thursday. There's no
Yep.
way you're getting. It is done by a private entity. We don't do that in the city. So if they called up on Thursday morning to get a bacterial test done, it wouldn't even be ready for till Friday or Saturday, and I don't even know if they work on the weekend, so it could be
Yeah.
back Monday. But I guarantee you, if you foil for any bacterial test, it will be after the date that they lied to the media and said that they got it done that night, because they're liars.
Yeah.
Strictly
I would say so.
liars.
Well, I do have a foil in for the chart because I know it's still in use. So I'm going to get that. And I'm also going to get, I put in a foil because there's cameras that monitor both the inside and the outside of that plant. And I asked for the camera footage as well. So I'm going to see how much water is in there too.
How hard is it to say, listen, we had a flood. We don't know if the water mixed clean and dirty. No idea. So we're going to have a temporary 24-hour advisory to boil your water.
Yeah.
How hard is that?
That's simple. That's simple.
How hard is
That's
it to go on the TV 10 and explain that to the public?
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
didn't they do that in the first place? You know why?
Yeah.
Because they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They're clueless. If you come to
Yeah.
the city of Cohoes and you think this is the city from 4 years ago, you're sadly mistaken. It's filthy. It's dirty. It's full of crime. It's full of shit, full of garbage. Businesses are closing. There's nothing exciting about it. It is not the city that had this, amazing resurgence just a few years ago. It's the opposite. It's the city that went from having this amazing resurgence to the city like, oh my God, how could it go down the tube so fast?
Tell you how bad it's, Sean. Okay, over at the pizza stop, some guy just walks in and steals their tips jar right off of the counter.
Yeah,
That's how
I
embraced
got
these people are.
Let me just see something, Timmy.
They're that embracing. Okay, they just go in there and decide, oh, here's a tips jar. Ah, thanks, I'll take that. Grab the tips jar out on these hardworking people, because that's not the best environment to work in that heat, especially in the summer. Okay, and they steal their tips jar, for Christ's sakes. All right.
I know that I have a video of that. Problem is I'm not so sure how to get it to come up. Let me see something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So
Let me just see something. Hang on a second here. Let me see if I can figure this out.
mhm.
All right, that may be the video. Pay attention, folks. That's the.
Yeah.
That's the.
Looks back at the camera and does it.
Yeah, that's it. What's it?
Looks back at the camera and does it.
Picks it right up and right in front of her and walks out. For Christ's sake.
So the guy walks in, steals the tip jar, and walks out.
Right.
It's the kind of thing that you could only wish they had a hammer that came down and whacked the guy right in the freaking skull as he was stealing the money out the door.
Yeah, and you know what? He's probably the police did arrest him, and I bet you a dollar, Sean. After they arrested him, they released him right back out on the street.
Are you positive he got arrested?
I don't know if he got arrested. I know that from what I understand, now maybe some of our followers that are watching the podcast can clarify that, but I understand he was picked up by the police. Now, I imagine if he got picked up, he probably got arrested maybe for petty larceny or something like that, and went in there, filled up.
Should have been robbery. He went in and robbed the place.
Right, and then they probably had no choice, but with our bail reform, is release him right back on the street.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll go in there and use the tip money to buy pizza.
Absolutely absurd. Hey, Bobby Scanlon, I know you're watching the show. I seen your name pop up somewhere. I was talking to Bobby Scanlon, he a former firefighter. You see now in Glens Falls, this firefighter who spent 19 years of his life as a professional firefighter in Glens Falls, must be relatively young still, sadly came down with Alzheimer's disease. And he can no longer work as an actual structural firefighter. And the city was offered the opportunity by all these other firefighters to donate enough time, vacation comp, all that type of different accrual time they have to get him 20 years so he could retire with his pension and his health care. And the scummy people who are in charge of the Glens Falls political establishment denied him the opportunity to have other people work for him. In the fire business, we do that all the time. You could break your leg and need 7 months of time. We could donate you to 7 months of time to get you through until you're back to work, right? So this guy's a fireman. He donates his life to the Glens Falls, and then they go and spit in his face by basically saying, too bad, we don't really care that you gave us all your time and you got this disease. We're not going to help you. Now, I know that Bobby Scanlon was watching this, and I know that earlier he sent me something, and was trying to read it at the same time I was at the doctor's with my granddaughter, and I didn't read it. So I'm hoping maybe somebody in that city is smart enough to say this is the wrong thing to do. But if you're from Glens Falls and you're watching the show, I'd love to have an update on that. If you're not, if there's a petition going around, I hope you'll sign it, because this guy deserves. He's risked his life for 17 years, and then they spit in his face, and it's really a disgusting display. I thought our elected officials were here to help us, not always look to knock us down just because they can.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was something I just wanted to talk. Hey, Timmy, is there anything else you want to go over?
Well, if they, what I was thinking is, if they could screw anybody out of a pension as a government, okay, they certainly would do that, and they're more than willing to do that. It's a shame that we have to become a society that is just plain mean, Sean. Okay,
Yeah.
so look I think that's pretty much all that I have. Okay, I'm
I just want to
through my
finish. I want to
notes.
just circle
The
back with the
one
one
thing,
thing.
yeah,
Go
well,
ahead.
the one thing I wanted to say, and I think of there, what steams me, and I know we just touched on it, okay? What really steams me is the fact that you have all these people that cross the border. They want to live in this country, Sean. They're okay, and for these people to stand there and burn that American flag. Thank God I wasn't there, because I don't know how I would have been able to handle it while they turned around and raised flags from all of these various different nations all around. Okay, for them to have done that sends a message to the people in this country. They don't want to be here, and they shouldn't be here, and kick them all the hell out.
Yeah. Well, anybody, I've always said that, but
Yeah,
sometimes freedoms don't make everything the best. It just makes it so that you're free,
yeah.
right?
So anyway, you got anything else?
I just want to say Bobby Scanlon just sent a thing, says, looks like the city and the union are trying to work something out for that firefighter. 250,000 people have followed that story, which is
Great.
an amazing amount of people. Now, Tim, I think I was talking about Facebook and how it's really just to the point where it's under my skin. And now I must get under a lot of people's skin as well, so I get it, right? But
Yeah.
I'm so tired of a life that we live under this platform of bullshit. People saying things they would never say to your face. People spouting off shit they know nothing about. Everybody's a scientist. Everybody's a politician. Everybody knows everything. And so, we have a podcast and it's political. So I
Mhm.
do spend a lot of time. What I'm not going to do anymore for a period of time is I'm not going to post any more stuff or respond to other people's posts other than, uh, the dates of our show and, anything that has to do with the show. We have a Truth Lies Political Bullshit page, which, because Facebook limited the ability of us to use it through EVMux, I haven't used that much. I'm still going to post all of our shows and any political stuff on that page. But for my own personal page, for my own personal well-being, for my own personal health, I ain't going to respond no more. I'm going to put pictures of my grandkids. And so if you respond to
Yeah.
me and you're looking for something on Facebook, you ain't going to get it from me. You can always message me if you're a friend of mine, because I do have the message.
Yeah, well,
But
same way here, Sean. I have my personal page, okay, with my family and stuff. I minimize, I keep that to a minimum, okay. I have the Fifth Ward page, okay. I just consider that page an information highway. I'll put on out things that most people do not put on out or whatever. I don't wear rose-colored glasses. I post things that are good. I post what's going on. That I grab off the city Facebook page. I'll read through the minutes of what meetings that are upcoming or going on. So I like to read through those minutes and keep people informed that way what's going on. And I'll tell you the last thing. Okay, I know the ethics board is going to be meeting on February 12th. It's taken them 9 months, Sean, 9 months for them to, and they still have not finished, but it'll be 9 months since I gave them this complaint regarding the mayor campaigning in City Hall, in which he did. 9 months. That is failed government, and they're not even really, they're a quasi government. Okay, they are they're not as independent as they think they'd be. But you know what, Sean? How can five people, okay, be this I don't want to say stupid, but irresponsible for the job that
I
they were
told
put in
you
place to do.
9 months ago.
Right. Don't expect government to fix government problems. You're right.
There you go, Timmy. Say it again before we go.
Don't let government. Don't expect government to fix government problems. And Sean Van Lee, I know you're sending me a message. Okay, he says the fire chief didn't lied to him in an email. Okay, and I told him to file a complaint with DPW. It's something to do with traffic signs or congestion over there in Columbia Street, especially when it's out, you know. But anyway,
Just remember, if you're going down Western Avenue, you're going to have a sign that says 30 miles an hour. If you're going back the other way, it says 25.
yeah.
Which way did they go?
Well, look
Hey,
at 5 miles per hour. I don't know that it's going to save a lot of lives, Sean. But if it keeps up at this rate, we'll be all on horse and buggies.
Timmy, it's good to see you. Thanks,
Okay.
everybody.
Take
Talk
care.
to you next week.